Hi guys, and welcome back to another review. So today I'm going to be reviewing Shenmue III on the PS4. Now, with me never playing the original games on the Dreamcast or the original Xbox, I was kind of intrigued to see how well this game was after so much hype when we all knew it was coming to the PS4. Now, with such a huge time gap between Shenmue 2 and this title, it's been too long for gamers and fans of the game to jump back in. So in Shenmue 3, for those of us who have not played the previous titles, we'll get a chance to see what happens by watching a little recap video from the main menu. Now, after you caught up with the story or jolted your memory if you played the games before, we get to start the game. Shenmue 3 continues Ryo Hazuki's quest of revenge as he tries to track down the man responsible for his father's murder. We see Ryu and Ling Shuna, hopefully I haven't butchered her name, but the two of them are standing in a cave and they've come across a mural. Now, this mural depicts a dragon and a phoenix, and it matches one of the mirrors that Ryo has in his possession that was given to him by his father before his death, and so this is where we're tasked of finding the other one. Now, once the game moves forward, we start off in the village of Bailu, and it's here where we get to grips with the game's mechanics and learn more about the road ahead. Much of Shenmue 3 gameplay consists of Ryo going around the current location he is in and talk to the various NPCs he meets and to find out what he can in order to move forward in the game. Now, when it comes to the talking, there is a lot of talking in the game, and I kind of trailed off a bit and forgot what he actually talked about at the start, because it does tend to go on a bit, and most of the NPC characters you do meet tend to kind of go on, and it does kind of get a bit boring and tedious as you play through the game. Now, at the start of the game, it does feel like it's close to 20 minutes before you get to actually do something solid, like control Ryu and go around the actual village and maybe start talking to people. Now, in between talking to the people, Ryo can hone his martial arts skills by either sparring with other fighters he meets in the villages and cities, or you can go by visiting local temples with training with monks, or even fighting them to increase your rank in their respected dojo. Now, these spar matches and fights are probably the best way to increase Ryo's endurance and his health and his kung fu attack levels to make him a much more efficient fighter when it comes to it. Plus, it also helps you to get better at beating some of the bad guys that you come across in the game, which can be tough depending on who you fight. Often there will be times where you need to do some of these fights or training sequences kind of over and over, and you kind of get a feeling of rinse and repeat, and that really starts to set in quickly. Now, there's also these Wing Chun fighting dummies that you can practice on, and this involves you hitting the X button and timing it correctly to get a more efficient strike, like the one punch strike that you have to do, and this increases your strength and your health and plus your kung fu levels as well. Also, when you get to do some of your fights or your training or sparring matches, you'll also get some quick time events where you need to press them in the correct order and quickly as possible to execute the right moves you're practicing. Now, once you achieve this, you do get some bonus XP, but if you do for some reason manage to miss them, it doesn't really matter. Now, the actual fighting in Shenmue 3 is really clunky, and it kind of feels awkward at times, and it's not what I was expecting. Now, when I first started out the game, I was kind of really expecting a bit more of a Sleeping Dogs vibe to it, but sadly that wasn't the case. Now, with every fight you do get into, there will be times where you need to punch in some quick time events, and there are times where if you miss them, you'll have to restart the whole fight over again. Now, this can include the fighting with the boss's lackeys too, where there's one fight at the start where you have to fight a huge guy, and plus his two kind of, I suppose, his little lackeys or minions, and if you kind of miss the fighting sequence with the big boss at the end of it, you'll have to actually go back and fight them as well. And this is kind of really a pain, and it kind of was getting more and more annoying with the times I tried to miss it. Now, when you're not sparring or fighting bosses or thugs as you progress through the game, which sadly enough for me, it doesn't really happen as much, and I kind of wish it did happen, you're more or less kind of left to your own devices to explore the world around you. The control mechanics here are the same as the fighting. They're just like a clunky mess, and I didn't really quite like it at all. You may find yourself getting caught in a piece of scenery and that you won't be able to get past it, and you'll need to kind of angle your stick or move away in order to get past them. This gets very frustrating as you progress through the game, and it's kind of like it's really started to get annoying as I got further and further, and at times I just wanted to shut the game off. Now, with every vigorous movement that Ryo makes, he'll slowly start to lose health, and this is what you need to keep an eye on, especially when you get close to fighting. Now, you can visit the local shops or the self-service stands that are around, and you need to buy food and drinks to replenish your health. But like I said, you need to make sure you keep an eye on this, because you don't want to go into a fight with kind of either half health or too low of a health, because then your fight will be over quick. Now, in order to pick up these important snacks, you're going to have to earn yourself some cash throughout the game, and this can be done by either doing small requests, or they're called side missions, for the people that you meet in the cities and villages. And plus they'll also give you some important clues that will help you progress through the game a little bit quicker. Now, as well as these side missions or requests, you can actually earn yourself some cash by doing some jobs for people, and it's one of the jobs is like wood chopping, and this can kind of turn into a mini game where we'll see Ryo trying to chop wood in a single motion. Now, it starts kind of looking at Ryo looking over the wood, and he kind of rotates his hips left and right, and you have to kind of time the X button to make sure that you had to hit the wood properly. Now, as he's swinging left to right, once you hit it properly, if you can actually get an excellent chop or a very good chop, you'll actually increase your level, so you can actually earn more cash for each wood you break. Now, most of the times when you do chop the wood, the cash you earn from it is terrible, and it bloody hell feels like an eternity that you're going to benefit from it, and you'll probably find something better. Like, I kind of wish there was more kind of jobs you could do in the game, and maybe something a bit more fun. But it's either this or maybe a spot of fishing, and that's basically about it. Now, lastly, probably the most, and well, it's not really entertaining, but probably the most enjoyable, if it is enjoyable, way of earning more cash will be doing some gambling. Now, some of these games are kind of like from tossing a rock into a metal bucket to win prizes, or maybe placing a bet on a turtle race. Once you win one of these gambling games, you'll earn these tokens. Now, this is kind of a bit of a pain in the backside for me, because when you earn these tokens, you have to then go into one of the villages and go to a shop where you can swap these tokens for prizes. And then once you get the prizes, then you have to jump over to a pawn shop to sell these prizes, and then pick up the cash that you need to go throughout the game. Now, I kind of wish they kind of cut out the middleman and maybe done it a little bit better, because this feels like you're jumping through hoops in order to get what you really want. Now, these games, much like the general explanation of Shenmue 3, is very tedious for me, and at the best of times I often found myself trying to force myself to continue the game, and like I feel like a game shouldn't have to do that. Like, it should be just like a natural progression. I don't know if it's just me, or because it's my first time playing these type of games, or maybe you feel the same way. Now, on the plus side, Shenmue 3's visuals, especially the environment and the city and village that you can visit, the real-time lighting and weather effects that are in the game can be beautiful at times, especially in the first village you go in Balu. Also, each of the settlements you visit here are decorated by the people who inhabit them, and from the rich marketplaces and stalls to some of the tea fields and the towering hotels, they all look really beautiful, and the way they're created, it really kind of adds to the whole aesthetic of the actual location that you're in. Now, when it comes to the actual character models, while they've kind of been given a facelift from the previous games, obviously due to the time lapse between the two games, probably a little bit more could have been done to kind of give them a bit more. I don't know, it's just they just kind of look off to me for some reason when you look at the rest of the actual game. But maybe it's just me being nitpicking, but it's just, I felt like it was kind of more of like an old kind of style PS3 game, Xbox 360 game, and kind of in this day and age I kind of wish they would have spent a little bit more time graphically on the characters. Now, I know that obviously the game was in Kickstarter as well, but there's other games that were in the Kickstarter as well that have done more in kind of terms of graphics, and I wish this would have been the same for this game. Now, I know I've kind of waffled on a bit about the graphics, but the audio in the game as well, it actually accompanies the graphics kind of, I wouldn't say brilliantly, but I'd say splendid, trying to be generous with the comments. When it comes to the backdrop music and also the ambience of the locations you visit, it's done really well, and it complements the two of them together. But sadly, like when it comes to the audio, that's about it. I find the voiceover work can come off very annoying at times, especially every time at the start of the game when you're leaving Senua's house. Over and over again she runs after you to say goodbye like she's some bloody lovesick puppy, and it does kind of get annoying after times. And there'll also be more kind of parts where you're trying to look for vital information from an NPC, and you just tend to go on and waffle, and you just kind of wish you could skip a bit, and it just kind of leads more and more frustration to the game that I found. Now, Shenmue 3 is kind of like a semi-open world game, but it's not as what you expect, like compared to the other games that are out there today. And at times, like, you'll want to wander around and explore, but most times you're forced back into an area saying there's more to do in this area before you go, and it's very restricting and it's off-putting, and you're kind of basically forced into doing something you may not want to do straight away, because you may want to explore and trying to find more about in the game, or like there's no real kind of hidden areas that let you explore or anything like that. Now, when it comes to the actual missions, there's not much variety in the missions, and there's a lot of kind of fetch and grab missions which I don't really like, and you're kind of forced to complete these as well before moving on to the next stage and obviously onto the next location, and it's really a pain. Now, kind of with all this said and done, I know it kind of feels like I'm shitting all over the game, but I just wanted the kind of Shenmue 3 to kind of end kind of fast, and I couldn't force myself to complete the game, and it pained me to get as far as even I did. And now, while the game, it does look pretty, and the music and ambience in the game kind of do complement each other, like I said, and the overall setting, like, it does look nice and everything's kind of well represented, but that's all I can really say about Shenmue 3 in a kind of a positive light. Now, I know if you're kind of fans of the series and you love the game, you're probably going to disagree with me, but it's probably those of you that were like me that didn't kind of enjoy it. And thankfully we've got more choices out there at the moment, because sadly this is not one of them, not for me anyway. Now, hopefully, and I kind of hopefully, if you liked my review of Shenmue 3, and if you did, I'd really appreciate it if you probably smash the like button, and maybe leave a comment below if you agree or disagree, or what your thoughts are. And also, if you like the content I do on the channel, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button to support me. I'm up to 151 subscribers now, and I'm kind of seeing more growth than I have been. I really appreciate everything that everyone's done in kind of terms of supporting me with reviews and leaving comments below, and kind of giving me little tips and hints as well via Twitter. But anyway, I really appreciate it if you just maybe give some feedback on what you thought. And if you liked the video, hopefully I'll see you in the next one. And take it easy, and I hope you have a good day. Take it easy. Bye bye.